Hello everyone. First of all, I just wanted to apologize to everyone last week for not doing my reading response. Left you guys hanging. My bad, I'm sorry. And I also want to apologize to myself because this book is amazing. Probably one of the best textbooks I ever read. Actually sounded like as I was reading it, I actually imagined myself listening to a great public speaker give a great public speech, as opposed to reading any other textbook where it's just a boring lecture on a page, which to me was a real relief. But anyway, the first chapter I read was chapter 6, and of course one of the reasons I like this book is the chapter of the title is The Science of Not Boring People, which he also goes later to call it the science of attention or the science of boredom. I really enjoyed his views on lectures in this chapter. He talks about how most people can't pay attention to something for more than 10 minutes at a time. And after that, people just kind of get bored, and there's a scientific explanation behind that. It's because people are meant to be running around, gathering things, physically doing work to live, to hunt, to gather food. But now, when we're in a lecture, we are forced to sit and stare for hours at a time sometimes, and as we do that, our heart rate's slow, and therefore so does our brain, being part of our body. And when that happens, everyone's bored, no one retains anything, and the whole point, the rest of your speech is lost. He talks about giving rhythm to the speech, which is really fun because I always did theater in high school and the early part of college, and that's a whole big. It's huge. The rhythm of the play, the rhythm of the dance. When you're doing a musical and you have to do a huge dance number, rhythm is extremely important. So it helps me think of speeches as if just doing another performance, which I've always been comfortable doing. So, it just gets me excited. And he even talks about having energy during online speeches, which I hope I'm doing right now. I mean, this is my first one. I know it may not be perfect, but I hope that. And he also talks about getting the audience involved, which of course I thought about, and I've had I've been in areas where the public speaker wants to get people involved, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know. He does something lame, or it's not really fun. But he actually talks about those kinds of things and says how you shouldn't do that, and what he really means is that just show of hands who. And then you say something about whatever the topic of your speech is, or ask the audience a question, and they raise their hands, and it gets the audience's attention on you, and it puts you in charge as the speaker. You're the man in front. That's a constant theme I saw through all these chapters, is that you're the person in front, you are the person in charge of that room. Chapter 7. I had a hard time paying attention to this one as much as I did chapter 6. My favorite point of this chapter, we're performing all the time, like I said, actor, and if you think about it, he's right. We're talking with our friends. We probably have rehearsed some story in our head about what happened to us at work or at school or on our way to whatever during our commute. Some guy who drove like an idiot, and you got mad and honked at him. You can't wait to tell that story, and when you do it, you do it with such emphasis. You're performing, and once again, speaking sort of like acting. Chapter 8, he talks about the type of feedback that some speakers get and how a lot of it is not exactly effective. A speaker could bomb terribly, but get good reviews because the people either don't care or they're someone of prestige, and they automatically, because they have a reputation that precedes them, get higher marks. The author uses the example of where he's in a lecture. The guy gives a terrible lecture. It's long. His points are messy. He's not organized, and at the end of the lecture, he tries to get out of there as quick as he can, realizes he forgets something, goes back into the lecture hall, only to have the guy standing right behind them, and then he asked them, "What did you think of the lecture?" Which I'm sure, all of us are thinking, man, that has to be an awkward situation. I'm sure some of us have been in that kind of situation, and I think it's funny because he says, you don't want to tell the truth because you can invite either hurt feelings or another conversation, which, after sitting through a long and boring lecture with that person, I'm sure the last thing you want to do is listen to them talk for another hour. But like I said, I really enjoyed these chapters. I love this book. I wish I bought the actual copy of it. I bought it digitally, and I don't actually own it. I wish I had the hard copy of it. But like I said, I loved it, and I hope to see the rest of your speeches soon. Have a good weekend.